everyone, PhoenixKnight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to Mystical Munchies featuring Redo Month. This week, we're going back to the Dungeons & Dragons Flavors of the Multiverse Cookbook as we make the entree, Rothe Steak. Now, the Grog's Garlicky Mayonnaise and Fries out of the Exquisite Exandria Critical Role Cookbook last week actually turned out to be good because I actually paid attention to how the mayo is supposed to be, how the oil is supposed to be poured in to make the mayo. This week is actually what I call a neutral redo, where I used a ridged pan when I made the steak last time and it turned out fine, but I want to see what happens when I use a flat pan this week, because what I was having problems with was getting the seasoning in there, so we're going to see if that works. So we're going to see if using a flat pan works better. But as this cookbook had stories as well, let's tell this one. 1 silver piece is an extraordinary bargain for the Rothe Steak at the Awning Portal, even if it is one of the more expensive things on the menu. Served sizzling hot right out of the skillet, with just a hint of garlic and garden spices, Rothe Steak is a carnivore's delight and the perfect protein for a triumphant or aspiring adventurer. Along the Sword Coast, you can easily source fresh Rothe that is either farm-raised or wild game. There are devotees of both. Why bother with any vegetable sides? You won't get to them with this slab of meat to tackle. Well, we'll find out about that because the ingredients are waiting for us at the table, so let's move in that direction. In order to make this recipe, we're going to use a ribeye steak, which is 1 to 2 inches thick, kosher salt and black pepper, a tablespoon of neutral cooking oil, I'm using vegetable oil, 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter, 2 garlic cloves crushed and peeled, I'm using pre-minced garlic and I'm going to use 2 teaspoons of that, and 8 large sprigs of fresh rosemary or thyme, which I'm trying to figure out how they're even used in here, but I'm going to omit them anyway. Actually, I know how they're used now. So, with that, we are going to move into the kitchen to start putting this recipe together. The first thing we're going to do here is we're going to take our steak, slice the packaging open, now we're going to grab some paper towel and pat it dry. I'm doing all the patting dry off camera, in case you're wondering what that smacking sound is. Okay. And now we're going to grab the salt and pepper because we're going to season it on both sides and along the edges. So here's the kosher salt and the black pepper. I'm going to go ahead and season this on both sides. And they do say to season generously. So, yep, there's a lot of salt here, but that's going to be behavior as intended here. Okay. There's the steak seasoned, and as I said, it does say to be generous with the seasoning. So I'll give my hands a quick wash, which I always do before I'm getting ready to turn off the camera. Now, since I've already had the steaks sitting out for about an hour, I'm going to let them rest for about another 7 minutes while I set a large cast iron skillet over medium heat. So let's go ahead and set the skillet over medium heat now, and I'll set a timer for 7 minutes, and we'll come back to that after the timer goes off. Actually, before we come back to that, The pan may smoke, but that's behavior as intended. So don't panic if you see a little bit of smoke when we come back. So now we'll come back once the timer goes off. There's going to be a lot that's going to be happening very quickly in this next shot. And there's actually a suggestion in here in the cook's notes to turn the range hood on, which I am going to do because we're going to watch this whole thing cook in real time. So before I turn the range hood on and it becomes almost impossible to hear my voice, I'm going to explain what all I'm doing. I've adjusted the heat to high, and then I'm going to add the veggie oil to the pot, and you might be able to see the pan starting to smoke a little bit. So I'm going to add the veggie oil to the pan, swirl to coat it. Then I'm going to add the steaks and cook them, flipping every 30 seconds until a pale golden crust begins to form, which will take about 3 to 4 minutes. At that point, I'm going to adjust to medium-high, move the steaks to one side of the skillet, add the butter to the other side and allow it to melt. I'll add the garlic and thyme at this point, it's actually rosemary, so I lied, I am going to use the rosemary. Then I'm going to continue to flip the steaks every 30 seconds, and then we might have to lower the heat. So we're going to be cooking that at that point for about another, I would say, 7 to 8 minutes longer. So now I'm going to turn the range hood on. Actually, now I am going to turn the range hood on so we can watch everything cook in real time. So here's your 5-second warning before I do. And as I mentioned, I am using a flat pan this time. So, here we go. It is definitely getting smoky in here, so I've also got my window open in the apartment to help me blow some of the smoke, help me suck some of the smoke, hopefully, out. also trying to move the steak over to one side of the skillet because I'm almost to the point now where I'm going to be adding the aromatics to I'm going to be adding the butter, the garlic, and the rosemary to the other side. Okay, there's the microwave, so now we're going to add the butter. And holy crap, the smoke just went nuts. Yeah, smoking like crazy in here. So now we want to add the garlic and the rosemary. And now it just got really loud, so I'm actually, at this point, I'm actually going to go ahead and turn the camera off once I add the rosemary in so I can worry about the cook on the steak, and we'll come back. We'll come back to this once the cook is all done. By the time the cook time went off on here, the smoke was so bad that I ended up blowing through a step. I ended up blowing through a step off camera because I needed to get outside and get some fresh air. So the next step, once it came off the heat, was to transfer the steaks to a carving board. I'm actually using my serving plate and let it rest for about 10 minutes, loosely tinted with aluminum foil, which I just threw the aluminum foil away. So actually, we're going to move over to my desk for the taste test. I've got the steak right here, and I will say that the smoke has definitely thinned out in here since I finished the cook. And getting outside and getting some fresh air definitely helped on that front. So, let's give this a taste and see what I think. Definitely looks good with the crust, maybe a little burnt, but that's probably to be expected. Really seemed like the ridged pan made too much of a difference, to be perfectly honest. The steak still turned out to be good, and I'm happy with it, but yeah, the ridged pan didn't really make that much of a difference. That's another episode of Mystical Munchies in the books, though. Next week, we'll take us back to the Star Wars Black Spire Outpost Cookbook as we make the dessert, the Kowakian crumb cake. This one was a good redo because it turned out good the first time, so we're going to use a different fruit when I go to make it this time. As for the games, I do have something set up in the game room, but I'll announce that when I'm ready to go live with it, which will probably be after this video goes up. Tomorrow we'll be continuing the fall campaign in B-17 Flying Fortress Leader by DVG. And Wednesday we're stepping back into our background campaign of Hero Realms. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.